Here.
Councilman Robert Dodd.
Here.
Madam Mayor, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Tonight, we have CKH, Mr. Eon on here, and we'll get started with our, millage rate meeting. Hello, Eon.
Hello. Can you guys see me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
We
Yes.
see you.
Very good.
No, not tonight. This is just for millage rate, what's advertised. Okay, so, and it's probably gonna take the whole amount of time. Okay, Eon, you wanna lead us off with the figures and everything that you've done so far?
Yes. Okay. So, who all do we have present?
All the council members are here, and we have,
Can we wait until the train passes, because you can't hear what's being said?
we're waiting on the train to pass.
Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. So let me know when you guys are ready and I will kick it off.
Can y'all hear him good?
Yeah. All right, we good, sir?
You ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the format that is consistent with what we looked at 2 weeks ago. What I have done since then is we have captured the data for 2024 up until August. So this data here is directly from the system, and the reason we wanted to do this was to compare it to the 2023 year. So we've got data that is now much more recent. And then what we did is we did some updates to the budgeted numbers where we think things are not consistent with the 2024 year. So we did make a couple of changes to the numbers. And you'll see there that these yellow lines is typically where we made some changes. One of the topics for discussion, and we can cover it a little bit later, is just what we do with the fire fees. If I roll down, where we're standing at the moment is we're sitting with a deficit or shortfall of $1 million in the general fund. So that's what we have at the moment. If we keep the budget as it is and we charge a fire fee, then we will have a deficit of $1 million. If we put in the property tax as we are suggesting at the moment, it will bring us to a 400,000 positive, right? And I know Ms. Hayes wanted us to create a buffer as well, so this will secure the buffer. Now, this is where I want to lead the discussion towards, but before we get there, there's a couple of other items that I just want this audience to be aware of.
Hey, go
So
back to the,
what we did
what did you say about the fire
is-
fee?
Yes?
What did you say about the fire fee?
If we leave
I
it in there.
said a suggestion that we have is to leave it in. But before we go there,
Okay.
there's just I want to show you the situation that the city is in at the moment. So what we have here is a list of all the bank accounts. And then I'm showing you what the bank accounts were in 21, 22, 23, and what they are today. So 21 was a good thing. That was the year of milk and honey. It was a rain grants. And we had $3.5 million in the bank account. And then at the end of 2022, we still had $3.5 million in the bank account. Then at the end of last year, we started running out of cash. Now, I know that everyone is like, we've been able to keep the city afloat, so we'll be able to do it tomorrow as well. But the problem is that we have cash reserves and we're running out of cash reserves. So if we look at how we are managing to pay our debts at the moment, you'll see this year our shortfall is consistent to what we had last year, right? So we're not able to cover our expenses by covering it through our revenues. Last year, how did we cover it, right? So we moved money out of a deposit account, we moved money out of an investment account, and then we used a lot of ARPA money. There was also some movement in working capital, which made the cash move, but that's what we did in 2024. In 2024, we have moved more money out of our CD. We have now moved some of the money out of our working capital, but then also we're racking up debt, right? So we have the fire truck that we need to pay, we have payroll taxes that we need to pay, and we've got some other vendors like insurance that we need to pay. Now, why am I telling you this? I am telling you this because even if we go ahead and we put in the millage rate, that money will only come in 2026. We are going to have a big problem next year. 2025 is going to be problematic. And yes, we need to decide and vote in this millage rate, but it's not going to help us next year. What is important that this audience needs to realize is that 2025, this city will run into a position where it can no longer function because it's not paying its creditors timely. And what can we do about it, right? So we can continue charging a fire fee, but even if we do charge the fire fee, we will still not be able to make the payments as they fall due. We won't. So, in my opinion, this city needs to seriously consider where they are going to be cutting costs. And if the city is not going to make these decisions, then through the operations of the city, it will just happen by itself, right? Because after a while, there just won't be money to pay salaries. There won't be money to pay CKH. There won't be money to pay any of the vendors. There just won't be money, right? So I think it's better to be proactive than to be reactive. And now is the time that people need to be reactive and embrace the fact that the city is quickly running out of cash. That is a vital component that this audience needs to be aware of. So that's my introduction. That's what I wanted to make sure that this audience is aware of. I know the discussion is to talk about the millage rate, but please, you need to be very aware of the fact that there's going to be a problem in 2025. So I'll pause here, Ms. Hayes. Do you want me to go into the millage discussion?
Council, do you have any questions for him right now on anything he said before we get into the discussion?
So basically what you're saying, 2025, you're recommending we keep the fire fee
Yes.
and cutbacks.
Any cutbacks.
And where do you see we can make any cutbacks?
So what I can see is that we had increased expenses significantly since 2022. So I know I keep on beating this drum, but I'll just show you an example. So look at this line here, right? So we had a fire department that cost us $150,000 a year. And now we're sitting at $650,000 a year. I'm not saying that that's where we are having to cut costs, but that is something that stands out to me, is that is something that changed significantly in the last couple of years. And the reason why we were able to pay this is because we had a lot of money in our bank account. Then the other place, see, this is not really fluctuating much. In the police department, there is not really much change year on year, right? So we need to go look at where is it that we have significant changes in cost. And this is where I will say we had the most substantial changes in the fire department. Now, we have also got some debt service that we need to pay. This is also in the fire department, but we can't get out of it, right? It's not like we can get out of the fact that we need to pay for this fire truck. But this is also an area where there's significant amount of capital outlay requirements. In terms of the revenue, we can't really touch the revenue. If we look at the water fund is also underwater, excuse my fund, in the 2023 year and in the 2024 year. But we believe that in this year coming, the next year, you should have a surplus of $240,000. So potentially, while you wait for the property taxes to materialize, you can utilize money that you're going to generate in the water fund. And this is what I was trying to tell Ms. Moss as well, is that if we can be more frugal in the water department, it will increase the amount of surplus that we're generating in this fund. And the more surplus we have in this fund, the more we will be able to use this money to finance my general department or my general fund up until I get the money from the property taxes. So that is my suggestion, is you guys need to look at how can you reduce expenses within the water and sewage department, and then potentially can you save in other departments like the fire department. Those are the two places that have the highest expense ratios. That's where you can look at cutting costs. So if I look at example here at this line, and this is why I was asking Ms. Moss to look at this line, is you'll see you had 85, 76, 156 up until 22, 250 in 2023, 280 in 2024, and we want to spend $480,000 in the 2025 year.
What kind of supplies is that?
But I do know that this is a high number because we are expecting a lot of additional fees coming in from the new meters that will be installed and the permits and all of that. So there is also a justification for why this is increasing. But again, this is just what I'm highlighting.
Eon, the
The
numbers,
reason that, yes,
the numbers that we're looking at, does that factor in the change that we've made to the sanitation?
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes it does. And I just want to point out the reason why this is in yellow here, and the reason is because I'm adding it back because it's not a cash item, this is just an accounting adjustment. So it doesn't reduce your cash, and that's why when I add it back, you do have a positive cash generation in the 2025 year.
Hey, what's that supplies? I'm confused on that. 481,000.
This one,
Got 400.
this one,
481,000
This one.
in supplies. Yeah, right there. What is that?
okay. So I can show you what's in here, supplies. That was in water department. Right, let me do it differently. Just pick it here.
Oh, hold on. Sorry.
Not this part.
Oh, that ain't? Okay. Now you're like, I know what it
So
is.
the biggest is in this account here. That one there.
Sewage charges, collection of supplies, sewage charge, electric, bank fee, office supplies, construction, city and water, natural gas.
Did Hinesville go up on the sewage charges?
They're
They
going
are
up.
going.
That's where that line item would come from?
Mhm.
So we're under, on the sewage charges, we're still under, and if they go up, we're gonna be way under. Is that,
I don't,
We don't know because
yeah.
we don't know what the amount is.
we don't know the amount yet.
We average about $15,000 a month paying this.
What you're showing us on the screen, is it the same thing that we can have in our hands or before us?
Not this right here. Not currently what's on the screen.
So do we have data to support that? What's on the screen?
So this is a number that was given to me when we went through the budgets. And this is something that I asked you guys to look up on as well, and I think we did get some emails from Ms. Moss. I can call up some of the communication we had.
So what I'm hearing, the recommendation is the fire department and the fire fee. And the two recommendations you're saying tonight? The cut? Well, to add the fire fee to make sure to look at the fire department?
If you want to look at fire,
No, I'm just saying, that's what you suggested, right?
yes, that's correct.
so I got a question for you. what you got on there right there is what everything that everybody's asking in the city of Walthourville. And go, if we keep that fire fee in there. And what was the amount that we were gonna be over on 2025 again? If we don't do nothing.
If you don't do the fire fee,
No, if we keep the, just like everything you got up there right now, how much deficit are we in if we keep everything as what you got on the screen?
you're in trouble, right? You're sitting with a $1 million deficit.
Okay, so $1 million, I know we're in trouble, I just need a number.
Yeah, if you keep everything the same as it is and you collect the fire fee, then you will have a shortfall of $1 million in the general fund.
And how much was it
If you then-
in the water and
if you-
sewage?
In sewerage, you're gonna have a $240,000 benefit. So if you take that benefit and you apply it to the general fund, then you've got about $800,000 deficit.
Leon, you did that, the fire fee you talking about is not $31.60, right? It's $25? What did you do with that?
I'll show you now, fire charges.
No,
So what you gonna do?
I don't know. That's what we've been doing for the past 10 years. No.
So the fire charge we calculated as $25 for 12 months times 901 properties. I think we worked out it's about 900 bills that went out for fire fees. If that number should be higher, then you need to tell me. If it's more utility bills that gets charged the fire fee.
Is it even legal to put that fire fee in our budget? Because when it was passed, it was only for 12 months. Is that even legal? So really, we can't.
Sorry, was that a question for me? Was that a question for
I
me?
was just asking the legality of that fire fee, because it was voted on for 12 months in December of last year. And then,
You would have to vote it in again.
so really, we can't even count that fire fee in this budget process.
No.
So if I take it out, it makes things far worse.
1.3.
1.3?
That's what we're supposed to be talking about. Eon, okay,
Yes.
far as millage, what do you suggest, and I'm just moving to 2026 now, cause I know
Yes.
the millage is not gonna take effect until 2026. So what do you
Yes.
suggest the millage rate, set our
So-
millage rate at?
Yes, so what I'm suggesting, and I shared this just so that you can see what other counties are doing, and I would suggest we go in somewhere in the middle, right? So my suggestion was to go in at 8.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've received your tax digest yet, but if we work on the basis that you have 2,000 properties with an average value of $90,000 each, and we use a millage rate of 8, then you will generate 1.4 million. And in any given year, the 1.4 million will be sufficient to cover the city's expenses.
At 8 mils.
So,
And I-
Eon, so are you suggesting that 1 mil is worth $90,000?
No, what I'm suggesting is that your average property value in Walthourville is $90,000. The average property value.
Right, but we could only go 40% of the property value to establish a millage. They don't do a millage based on the full property value. It's 40%.
Yes, I interpreted the 90 as being already applying the 40%. If that's wrong, then we need to adjust the
You
calculation.
said that the 90,000 is the 40%? Is that what you said?
90,000, 40%. So then, that's saying that the average property is what?
So you're saying the $90,000 that you came up to get that number is the 40% of the property in Walthourville?
No. I'm saying that the value that I was given is 90,000.
Oh.
I was not told whether it's before or after. I was just giving the 90,000. But that's my question is, do we have the tax digest? And what does the tax digest tell us?
Oh, I thought you had EI.
No, I don't have.
Can you, if you use last year's tax digest, can you give us a number on that?
But do you have anything specifically for Walthourville? Have they done any assessments? Do you know?
Yeah, we had a
Has
tax
the tax
digest.
assessor come to do evaluations?
Wasn't it two?
Last year,
wasn't it
1
2.4?
mil was worth about 63,000. Last year.
2023.
60.
So that's saying the average house in Walthourville was worth 225,000.
That's not true. That is not
When
true.
our digest last year, like 2.4 million, something like that, tax digest?
I don't recall. I do recall the millage was 1 mil was 63,000. I have to look at the exact number. $63,186 was that. That was based on 2022 digest.
But how many
No.
properties was that?
It's
So
still
we're not
the updated
basing
figure based
anything
on
on the
2023 digest.
actual
Yeah.
amount.
She wanted to get it to me,
Yeah,
So
right.
let me just understand this. So you're saying if we have 8 mills, then it's 63,000 times 8. Is that
Right.
the math that
It's
you're
really
saying?
simple, man.
Yes, sir.
But this is confusing me.
Yeah, that's based off of 23 digest. It would have been $63,186 per 1 mil.
So half a mil. 500,000
Yeah,
in
that-
revenue.
yes, sir, for 8 mils. So
Okay.
to cover that 1.4,
Yeah, you can't push up your mill to 3x. That's gonna be crazy. 24 mils.
No,
That's way out of normal.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That's way too high.
he said 24.
Yeah.
Is that pretty accurate for 2023? Those cities you got underneath, that's what, that's a municipality compared to Walthourville?
Yeah.
These are counties. These aren't cities, right?
Yes, this counties.
So why, if we're talking about cities, why are we dealing with the counties millage rate? That's
Yeah, the county
confusing
sets
to
the
me.
millage rates.
So I know it was even more confusing to our citizens. If we don't do it based on cities, then let's do the calculations on cities. But if we're doing it based on the county, which
Right.
we can't compare it to the county.
I don't believe we should compare to what the next city set their millage rate at anyway.
It's not the next city, it's the city with the comparable, population.
Yes, and that's what I did, right? I also went and I spoke to other cities that are similar size as you, and that's how I came up with the 8, right? So they're using 8 at the moment.
They're using what?
8 mils.
8 mils. That's about average. Well, I mean, whether we're talking about cities or counties, we need to cut. That's what it boils down to. We need to cut.
So basically we need to cut some employees or whatever, how you wanna call it, from the fire department? How many employees working, I don't know.
I thought we only had one.
Huh?
We don't have no volunteers.
We have one full-time employee, that's the chief.
Okay, let me reword it then. I guess the ones that come help us, we have to, we
One
don't,
person can't fight a fire.
huh? Well, I know that. But what I'm saying is, I guess, the amount of help we have to cut, hey, we don't need you today or something like that. You understand what I'm trying to say?
They don't come in every day.
Huh?
They don't come in every day.
Right, we're talking about budget right now. I thought we were here to set a millage rate.
We here for millage, we can't.
In order to establish a fair millage, we gotta cut the budget.
But we have.
Right, but
we're basing the millage rate on.
Well, actually, we had a number first of the year, so we can go back to that
We
same
moving
number.
in circles. I mean, I understand we have to have a budget to set the millage, but if we set a millage today, right now, it's not gonna affect our 2025 budget anyways.
Yeah, but we still need to set it though.
My point exactly, we need to set it and then move to the 2025 budget.
There you go. That sounds good to me.
Eon,
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
we talked about the revenue coming in, they're breaking ground for those 100 homes, the 44 is almost done, and the 10 is.
It's still budget.
With the money coming in from that will have an effect on our 2025 budget.
Correct. And I did bring it in here, so you'll see there's a substantial bump in your
Yeah, but
budget
it's not here now.
for money coming in from that.
Well, we just need to come up with a millage rate and then go from there. Have to go 4 meetings, 3 meetings we need to have and go on and do it.
I mean, the math is there to do the millage. It's
Yeah.
just that the numbers gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I know. I don't like that 20.
If we set a millage rate at 8 mills for, to begin in 2025, how's that gonna, look on our budget? Along with the other revenue that'll be coming in by then.
It's still be in the hole.
It's still good.
Right, because if we set a mill for we're not gonna collect any of that money until 2026.
I know.
The 1.3, if we don't do the fire fee, with a potential income of 500,000, that's 800,000 in the hole. We're still in the hole. We gotta cut. There's no way around it.
I agree. And we'll discuss that right next meeting, but today we need to do this millage
We
rate.
don't have time to discuss it next meeting.
Discuss what, the budget?
Yeah.
I mean, but we advertise this as a millage meeting, not a budget
We gotta
meeting.
do millage today. I know, trust me, I know. I said we're gonna come up with some numbers.
So, I think as a suggestion, if you want to vote in the millage rate, I don't really think you have the option of going in higher than 8. If 8 is the norm within the cities that you operate, the size of your city, then if you go higher than 8, then I think it will be challenged by the community. However, if you can convince the community that this is the way that you're going to save the city, that is something different. But if you want to align your rate with, let's call it the industry, I would suggest to go with 8.
8 sound good to me.
But again, the point is that doesn't matter what rate you go with, it doesn't solve your immediate problem.
Yeah, we
So that
we
is
all
something
know
that needs to be
Yeah, we all
addressed
know
later
that.
on. I'm just saying that the number we choose today is not what's going to save the day.
So are we agreeing on a millage rate today or not?
Yeah.
I think 8 sounds good.
I agree. Love.
I'm confused where these numbers are coming from. And I'm just gonna say that because simple math would tell me we need to have what we're basing these figures on and how we're gonna come at getting what we need to move the city forward. But
I understand what you're saying, but this right here is for the future.
I understand the future.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, this,
But what
But
I
you wanna know what we're
understand is
gonna
where
do
these
next
numbers
year.
are coming from and how we're gonna implement it.
What we have going out, what we have coming in, what we owe, what we paying and all like that. He compared what our size of the city to other cities around. And on that chart that he's showing is what other, counties are doing as far as the millage rate is. And based on, and I say, I wouldn't think that he's saying counties because most of the cities are going through the county to pay for them to collect their, property tax.
Right, but we can't base what we set our village rate at on what the counties are doing.
I understand, but
But you keep telling me the county is doing this and the cities
you
are
know,
doing
you
something else.
asked how did the figures come about, and that's what I said. We got it from looking at the surrounding and looking at our
But you
issues that we
understand,
have.
but you're telling me county ain't city. Either we're gonna do it based on the cities about that are comparable with our size, or you're gonna do it with the county.
Didn't he just say he looked at the cities as well? I think that's what I heard. But in comparison, what he did was, what I heard was, he's looking at what we used to get out of this when we start collecting in 2026. It's not gonna
I'm
help.
looking online, the average millage rate for cities our size is like 30
30%.
mils.
I mean, that's what I'm
That's too high on New York.
The average millage rate for cities this size.
A
in the state
population of
Georgia,
population of
30.
4,000?
Yes, yes. And I'm looking at cities like,
That's county and city together.
no, it's not.
Don't call Jonesboro because the salaries in Jonesboro is not comparable to the salaries here in Walthourville.
Blakely, Mare, Vienna, Little Issy, and Ashburn.
That's a city mill?
City mill, Blakely is 32.5.
What's their county mill?
Vienna's 31 mil, Little Issy is 26.5, Ashburn is 33.5 mil. These are all cities.
But Little Whiskey has not implemented theirs yet. They're gonna do that for the upcoming year, am I correct?
I don't live in Little Bit.
I
don't know.
All I'm saying is, the average mill for cities our size is not 8. It's 30.
So I can put you in touch with the mayor of Leedsville, and she can tell you what they're doing there. Their millage was at 4. They also had 2,000 people. They increased their millage to 8 about a year ago. They suggested to me that 8 is the research that they did, was 8 is a reasonable number. Now, what I will say is that there is a conference for city clerks and city managers on October the 24th, and there would be a session specifically on property taxes and millage rates. And I strongly suggest that one of you attend that, because that will be a really good opportunity for you to get an understanding of what's going on within the cities of your size. What would be the best way to go about this? I know, Ms. Hayes, you want to make a decision today, but if there's not understanding and agreement amongst all the members, then it might be a good idea to attend that session and then make a decision thereafter.
Don't we have to meet some deadlines though?
Yes.
Yeah. The cities that you just stated, majority of them that I know of offhand, they have businesses. We don't have all that out here.
Exactly.
That's why we need to cut. We can't afford it. Our citizens can't afford it.
We can't afford no 24 bills, no.
We can't afford all the services that we have. And it's that simple. We're offering more than what we can afford. Until we face that, this is not gonna change. We could put a look, make the millage rate 8.
I
we
think,
still gonna be in the hole. We still gonna have to cut.
But tonight is to do the millage rate. We still have to come back for our budget meetings, and we can do the look at, the cuts, we're gonna have to do something.
I don't wanna look at her, know what we're gonna
I mean, you don't wanna set it high, so it's gonna be lower. It's gonna be lower, then our expenses have to be lower.
Okay, we understand that. Let's, council, you wanna set the millage at 8 tonight?
no,
What you wanna do?
I
got one question. So if we set it at 8 tonight, or I'm just saying a number, how much money did you say that will bring in?
About a half a
$500,000.
500,000.
So really, the millage rate isn't even enough to cover the budget.
The millage rate isn't even enough to cover a department. That's not even covering the police department or the fire department. If it's only bringing in $500,000.
That's what I was understanding. I know simple math, but.
So I suggest we should set it like at 12, and that'll bring in $1 million. That'll at least cover a department and a half.
You need to put it at 16 to get that.
I was gonna say at least 15, but at least 15.
You said it at 8, you're gonna get 5.
It would have to be at least 15.
Simple math, tell me you're gonna have to do 16 as Councilmember Grace.
But
So it's just gonna be hard for citizens to grasp. We're setting the millage rate at 15, 12, 8, and we're still out of budget for 2025. That's just gonna be hard to grasp.
But I mean, you're gonna have to explain it to
We'll
them.
have to have town hall meetings.
We're setting the millage rate at whatever, but it's not gonna take they're not paying it until December of 2025, so we're not gonna collect it until 2026.
We say we're not gonna pay it, but when that goes into effect, you're gonna go, your escrow, if you have a house payment, your escrow is gonna go up, whatever that number is gonna be throughout the 12 months. So in all actuality, we're not gonna collect it until 2026, but you're gonna pay it in 2025.
Millage rate 15 or 16. It's the only way, unless we do some major.
Okay, so if we say millage rate at 16, we're not. I understand what you're saying, Doc. We're not gonna actually physically see that money until 2026. So I lost my train of thought. So say for instance, I'm just throwing this out there. Say for instance, we cut our fire department for 2025 because we can't maintain it for 2025. But we're gonna set the millage rate. We're gonna start collecting in 2026. We bring our fire department back in 2026 because we have money to sustain it now. Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
I'm like this right here. I'm for setting a millage rate.
I'm just
not ready to set a millage rate when our budget is upside down and we're gonna throw a high number out there and our budget is not gonna be in balance.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
well, it's not gonna be in balance for 2025.
That's why I'm for, we need to get the 2025 budget before we set a millage.
We keep saying the millage rate is gonna be a 16, but our citizens want to know what the dollar amount is gonna be for them.
We can't tell them that because everybody's is gonna be different because it's based off their property value.
I understand that, but you know right now approximately what each citizen or what the rate increase would be for each household. That's what I'm trying to get and understand. Because if you want me to vote on the millage rate, I need to know what the dollar amount is gonna cost me come December or.
So how many properties do you have in Walthourville? What is the number of properties? Is it 900?
No.
Because if it's
When
900,
you say how many properties, are you saying like how many houses we have?
Yes.
We have about 2,000 houses. Am I correct? Huh?
Is it 2,000 people or 2,000 houses?
Houses. We're not charging people. We're charging house. One house. So
Yeah, but-
how many
okay,
water
so I
bills do
thought-
we send
so
out?
how many citizens do you have?
What's that?
We have
per
about,
parcel. Everybody's not on water, so it's per parcel. You can pull your own property card and estimate your own tax bill.
Well, has that been done for the average household here in Walthourville?
The tax assessor's office is who would do that. But you can Google your property card, look at your estimated value at 40% and calculate your own tax. Divide that by 12, that's the increase of your escrow.
okay, let's see.
Hey, Eon, I got a question.
Yes.
What is the drop dead date that we have to have a millage to the tax commissioner for it to be collected on 2025 for 2026?
I do not have that date. I think, Ms. Hayes, I think you've got an idea. I think you've spoken to the tax commissioner.
I've been down there 4 times, like I said, and the last time I went, I talked to the tax assessor. He said we can go ahead, the first thing we need to do is go ahead and decide on what the rate would be. Then go ahead and get ready to have our hearings and everything, so everything will be in line in January. When
Interlast
we
name
submit the
first.
paperwork, to the tax, commissioner.
Bridget, you can do mine. I don't care.
Oh, there you go.
So,
We get another job.
oh shit, this is right on.
Verify sires.
No, I never bought. Other than the ones that's like, she bought.
What's this on San Francisco Main Street? So this is my property card. Now, how do I, what are you saying? What am I supposed to do to see how much
Go up?
up like this?
Fair market value minus 40%.
Go down a little bit, Bridget. Keep going. We should have it broke down.
Yeah, it should already be broken down. The taxable value is right there.
So right there is the county's millage rate. What is that, 42?
Damn, we pay 42 for the county.
That's school board and everything combined.
So,
So your taxable value is $30,000. You would multiply that by whatever the millage rate is.
$30,000 times, we saying 16?
Yeah, but and then divide that.
30,000. 30,000 times.
0.16. Divide that by 12. That's the increase on your mortgage payment.
I don't have a mortgage payment.
So it's
So I'm
gonna
gonna
be,
pay $400 at the end of the year.
no, times that by 12.
Times 400?
It's gonna be $4,800, because Nick just told you to divide by 12, that's per month.
Okay,
400
okay,
per month.
okay.
So at
it's
the end of
gonna
the year,
be-
your tax bill
You
will
set a
be
millage rate right now for, what, 16, your taxes are going up 48.
For every 1,000.
So wait a minute, so you saying I'm paying, that's not right, I'm not paying
It would be,
$4,800.
If we set a
your bill
millage rate
go
of
up.
16.
No.
That's not right,
You gotta-
because
It's
the
16
millage rate is
times
42
It's point,
in the county and I only paid 1,300.
it's 0.016.
Okay,
It's 0.016.
okay.
You gotta move the decimal 3 times.
30,000 times .016.
Well, a mill is 16. That's how much it'll be in a year. And
So
divided
let's
by
see.
12,
So we said the county, let me, 30,000
because it'll be $1 for every
times
1,000.
.42.
No, you gotta look on, move that thing out of the way. See the county's millage rate, 23 point.
No, the millage rate is 42.
No, look how it's broke down. The millage rate for the county is 23.832, which you paid $732 for. The school millage is 15.25. Industrial rate.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
I can't. Yeah, the hospital millage is what is it? 3.84, which gave you a total of 42. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And then you pay $1,300 in taxes on the 42, and then they just you can see what you paid by each entity that's getting the millage rate from you. I got a question. Hey, what's his name? Eon.
Eon, yes.
Eon. So if we set a millage rate, does some of that come off of the county or no?
No.
You get it like a
You can
rollback
decide.
or?
Are you asking about the collection? Do you want to know if you should collect it or the county should collect it on your behalf?
No,
Is that the question?
No, what I'm saying is like if I'm looking at my property tax right now and I got county M&O at 23 and then we set a city at 15, does it you still have to pay the county the 23?
Yes.
So we're gonna set. So you're asking, am I still gonna pay the county 42 and then the city 16?
Yep.
I'm gonna go back to rank.
So I think what we're concluding here is that if we put the millage at 16, then you can collect $1 million. And if you collect $1 million, it will help you a lot. And I think you'll be okay because you'll get more money from water. But if you can elect the 16 mil, and people will be okay with that, it will help you.
If we do 12 mils, what would that bring in? 800?
Yeah. And I think 12 is what Mayor Hayes initially recommended. I think she came in with 12 initially.
That was from the past, okay. When we talked about this last year, I figured when Matthew had talked about, take like the average home, which is not average, 93,000. That would be, 93 times your 40 meals. That gave them $3,720, for their tax bill a year. And you divided that, I divided that by 12, and the average person was paying $310 a month. But we know it's not a monthly thing. They're gonna have to put that money aside. But then the average home out here is not 93,000. We have some higher assessed value, is much lower than that. We have to set something to where. And I know we need to bring in money, we definitely do. But we don't want everybody losing their homes out here either.
They're not gonna lose that.
We don't want everybody losing that.
So if you do the 16, then you can get 1.2. If you can get the 1.2, you're much closer.
Well, that's good for the following year, which is right now, I believe, Councilman Mayor, we're worried about next year.
We agree on 16?
But 16 sounds good for me.
So 16 is an average of 600 per person or per house, per property.
For the year.
Yes.
That's $50 a month.
For a month. For a month.
$50 a month.
$50 a month.
$600 a year.
That's what I have.
Based on what size of house?
The average. We're a little above average, sir.
I'm saying like, what number are you getting at?
600. He said the average would be 600 a year for the millage.
At 16. So he's saying, you know, save your money, put $50 aside every month. At the end of the year, you got your tax money. But we can't tell people how to save their money, but.
So we're gonna set it at 16. Our tax bill will come out, and we're gonna be at 78% or 58% of your tax.
What's your name?
For the county.
In the city.
Oh, city mills.
Yeah.
Miss Kelly, if you don't mind, put my property up there, 380 Walthourville Road. Let's see, I got to know. I got to know.
This is live, Ms. Love.
It says what?
This is live now.
This is live.
If it's live, it needs to be live.
That's a-
Come by your house.
Nobody coming to your
All right, Ms. Love, you've been there a couple of times. Which one? Let's see. 1, 2,
My name is Jason.
Yes, ma'am. That's you, Ms. Love.
It's over east.
380 Wild Road? 380, that's you?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna pull up, Miss.
It's right here. It's right here.
She wants, there you go.
That's what I'm saying.
There you go.
It's public information
Yeah,
anyway.
I know how much you pay.
What's the taxable amount?
All right, Ms. Love. So you got 17. You got Texas. Wait a minute, you got a discount on.
It's called homestead.
I got the homestead exemption.
Yeah, there you go.
So hers will be based off of what, 96, is that, am I reading that right? So 96,000 and 16 would be how much?
About 0.016.
You said 90,000?
96,991.
96, 991. That's too many nines.
Thank y'all too for using examples. I appreciate it.
Times
0.016.
1539.
That's for the year.
that's what you'll pay this city for the year.
How much you put? 120.
Divided by 12.
I'm about to have a stroke. I would say 1,600.
That's to the city. And then you got 1,700 to the county.
She won't pay that much.
If y'all can throw cans outside the road, I'll come and pick them up. I'm just.
Where I see that 96,000 at?
To the left, like the second. Go up a little bit. Keep going.
Not quite
Keep
70.
going. So that estimate, that's that 40%.
Right here.
That's the 40% of the 242.
I agree with 8.
See what I pull up on myself?
So, So are we setting a millage today?
Yeah. So how does that work? We set a millage today and then
You have to have your 3 public hearings.
Yep, well, we do, like we did last time, basically.
Y'all know millage can be adjusted.
Yes, up and
It can be
down.
adjusted.
and we still, but that 16 is gonna bring the city, what do you say, 1.3 or 1.2?
1.3.
1.3, but that doesn't count in, take into consideration what is the tax commission going to charge us to collect. What is it?
2%.
Last one said 2%.
So he'll take the 2% off the 1.3. Or whatever we collect.
We still gonna be.
Is Dion still on there?
Yeah, you're right.
I am here.
Oh, okay.
Eon, can you do some basic math for us? Do the 1.2
Sure.
minus 2%. What will we bring in?
Yes.
Because the county will charge us 2% to
And
collect.
that was,
what they
that
said.
was.
So they're taking $30,000.
So 1.2 minus 30,000 is what we'll bring.
Sorry, 24. They're taking 20. So you're
24,000.
gonna get almost like 1.2 million, and they're gonna take 24,000 of that for themselves.
How does the tax commissioner set the percentage? They just,
When I talked to
Pick a
him,
number.
he said that 2% was standard.
okay.
So we good?
Okay, council. What are your thoughts on the meals?
We should follow the advice of our CPA. So 16.
All right.
Standard rate, I mean, we were saying, and according to the calculations that we did on the I'm gonna be paying, what, 13? I think it was 13, wasn't it?
It was 16.
About $130 a month.
But per total,
It was
$130 a month.
There's one right there.
It's like $1,600.
1,600 to the city.
Right.
Right.
That didn't include the, whatever to the
County.
county.
You paid 19 to the county this go round.
look back a month. And that's city and county put together.
And this millage rate, and I'm just asking, we got people who live here and they don't pay any taxes because they are 100% disabled.
Right.
Right.
So it's the people like myself who are going to have to make up the difference. And do I need to look at it that way?
Essentially, yes, ma'am.
And not only that,
But
the other adjustments.
What other adjustments?
that's not right.
Right.
I didn't think so.
What's that?
She's saying that just if you're somebody who's 100%, she will have to make up the difference. Not necessarily because she's just gonna pay her 16 mils.
Homestead exemption.
Oh, you got to worry, I'll be there April.
No, but what Ms. Levitt was saying, for the people that don't pay the city taxes because they're 100% or homestead or whatever, for the people who don't pay taxes, she's gonna have to, pretty much, you're saying you're gonna have to pay their taxes.
We're going to take up the
No,
slack.
no, we're not. We're just gonna pay our 16 mils and that's it. We're not gonna collect the whole 1.2 million, but you're just gonna pay your 16 mil and that's it.
Somebody gonna have to take up the slack.
You can't.
Unless Well, explain it to me so I'll understand, because the way I'm
So-
looking at it.
So you're saying I'm not paying my taxes. You're gonna have to pay 19% because Bridget isn't paying her taxes. I mean 19 mils because Bridget isn't paying her taxes. No, at the end of the day, you're
That's
still
not the way it
paying.
works, is it?
No, at the end of the day, whether the next person pay their taxes or not, you're still gonna pay your 16 mils at the end of the day, and that's it.
They don't just need the city of
So-
Sure, right.
Yeah.
So the tax assessor,
And we're gonna be back at square one.
No, we can't
How
go.
we gonna make up the difference?
so the tax assessor goes out and assesses the property. He assesses the whole county, or the whole city of Walthourville. He comes back and says it's, just say, I'm using this ballpark, $5 million. He's looking at all his tax exemptions. He's sending, it might be $2.4 million. He's sending that to the tax commissioner. The tax commissioner is setting a digest. Our digest is
It's
probably,
based
I
off.
think it last year, what did it about 2.1 or something like that? 2.1 million. It was something like that. That's, okay, this is what it takes. Your digest is $2.1 million for Walthourville. Based off of your budget, which is, I don't know, I can't see it up there. You have a shortfall of that. That's how we're setting your millage. So when we set the millage off of the digest,
It's already included.
the tax exemptions are
Already
already
included.
Now you have to be understand. It wasn't making sense. We gonna come up short. So I'm gonna have to make up the shortfall.
That's why I'm saying it's, and I understand what you guys are saying. It's hard for us to set a millage without seeing that digest. That's why I asked, what is the drop dead date that we have to have a number in? I understand what he's saying. I understand what he's saying with the 16 with our budget, but what is our digest? How, we don't even know what the property value is in Walthourville. I don't know.
I don't think it's changed much from last
Yeah,
year.
that's what I'm saying. I think it was 2.1 or 2.4, something like that.
And remember, the holdup was this time, the people had up to September or something to, rebut their tax amount.
Can we vote?
All right, council,
I just think we're premature to set it at 16
we can adjust it.
without seeing a, digest. I mean, I agree, we need a millage. I'm just not saying that it gotta be 16.
So you saying it got to be 12?
I don't know what it's gonna be. It might only have to be 9 or 10. I don't know. It might have to be 25.
Is the digest online anywhere?
You don't say 25.
No.
No. It's just hard to set a millage rate if we haven't seen a digest. Whether it's 5 years old or last year.
I don't know why we didn't have that. We were talking about today.
They never put it on that.
We've talked about it more than once. Ask me, I know about you, you're listening. And the reason it wasn't done before is because we were cognizant of individual taxpayers, and at that time, the average household income was $45,000 a year. We were trying to figure out how they came up with that number for
Only made
the city of
20,000.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. No, I was just saying that you said the average.
At that time, when we first talked about it, it was the average household income
Was 40.
was 45,000, and we knew that was wrong. When, correct me if I'm wrong,
It should be higher or lower than that.
huh? It should have been lower. Yes, it should have been lower.
Council, y'all wanna set a bill tonight?
Yes.
We can always drop this down.
If we set one low, we can always raise it too.
That's fine.
You can make the adjustments up or down.
If we set it at 12 or 16, we're not gonna raise it right at 8. Because We have more people in Walthourville here.
Okay. All right, council. It's been put on the table 12 mills, it's been put on the table 16 mills. What is it,
You said SOS.
you're putting out? You wanna go with 12 mills, 16 mills?
I think we should follow the advice of our CPA.
So need motions.
Make a motion, we set the millage for 16.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, show of hands.
Hold on. The 2023 tax digest is online.
September 1st it came out. September 1st it comes out.
Hey, where do you find that at anyway? Oh, I see it. Oh, wow. So it is online.
For 2023.
That's 2023 though, right?
Yeah.
That's on
Okay.
2023.
All right.
We already got the mill for 2020.
All right, y'all go ahead with your motion.
It's already been second.
All in favor, show of hands. Those opposed? For you opposed, Councilman Dodd, for you?
I'm not at 16.
Motion died.
The motion is for 16, so we either let it die or.
Dead.
Dead.
We didn't get
All right.
It's dead. Remotion. It's 16, the vote was, 2 yes, 3 no.
Are we gonna make a motion for another number?
Council, you want
I mean-
12 mills. You would make a motion for 12 mills.
I think we should listen to the CPA who we hiring for, but hey, that's just me.
You can go up, you can go down.
Well, we can get it right. That's the advice
You
of
don't
our
have to
CPA.
vote for 16 right now.
I mean, well, our CPA started at 8, then he went up, Mitch. I
No, he
mean,
went on 8 based on
Yeah,
counties.
the county, yeah.
He did the numbers again. It said
but he
16.
started at 8.
The
Right.
past CPA said,
I don't care about him.
10. We put in an additional 2 so that we could have money in our fund balance.
Ain't had no fire department.
What is it?
You're supposed to say
So y'all don't wanna come up with, a millage rate tonight?
No, we do.
I do.
I make a motion at 12.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, show of hands.
Who seconded it? Who did the second?
It's still there.
Is it still?
Motion dead.
All right, you know.
All right, guess we need over. No other discussion? All right.
No, we can't leave it like this. We will get information from, we will get the tax digest so y'all can sit and look at it.
We don't need
Councilman Underwood, let me finish. We get the information so y'all, we have to set a millage rate, or am I hearing you don't wanna set a millage rate?
But listen, I mean, at 16,
Yeah, we just wasting people's time. That's what we're doing.
I'm listening. Councilwoman.
it don't matter.
Walthourville doesn't want to move forward. They'll just keep going round and round and round. I'm here to help, but I need help.
as I said, it can go up, it can go down. We just need to.
And
come
I make a
together
motion
for
that we
something.
set it at 12. If we need to go up cause this is for 2026 anyways. If we need to go up, then we can go up. But let's start at 12. And if we see we need to go up, then we go up. We may go down, but 16 is.
Council, if you set it at 12, are y'all willing to vote to increase it if we need to increase it? That's the question.
If we need to increase it, yes, we can bring it back to the
Then make
table.
a motion.
I make a motion that we set our millage rate at 12 mils.
Second.
All in favor, show of hands. Those opposed, show of hands. Motion carried.
What was this one?
7:15, I call this meeting closed.
Thank you, Eon.